The guillotine is one of the most versatile submissions in all of jiu-jitsu. You can hit it from so many different spots and it presents so many new opportunities to everybody that uses it. Let's go over the guillotine in this video to help out everybody that wants to learn. The first thing we need to learn about the guillotine is the grip. It is the most important part about the guillotine because we need to be able to control our opponent. We're going to be doing a different variation today to see how I get so many finishes with this same technique. The most important part of our offense is that our opponent cannot reach our hand. Because of this, we need to use a shallow grip. By using a shallow grip, if our opponent attempts to hand fight with us, they are compromising their position and they're just making the choke worse. Let's first get started on how to establish this shallow grip. As I reach for my opponent's neck, I'm using my thumb and I'm placing it directly on their carotid artery. Once I have the placement of my thumb correct, I can reach in with my other hand. Notice that when I reach with my other hand, I am not moving my choking hand. I'm bringing my other hand to the grip and then I'm pulling the grip into his neck. The entire time I pull, this thumb is in the exact same position. The other crucial component is my elbow. My elbow is on the top of his head, and when I go for the choke, I am pulling it down and compressing my chest and sinking everything in together. Once you have this, your opponent is going to tap no matter what. Here's a perfect example. I have a guillotine on Anthony and my elbow is going down. As he tries to strip my hand, he's pushing my elbow down at the same time. He's forced to use that hand because of the shallow grip. Since he pushes the elbow down, the choke only gets tighter. There's another hidden beauty to this technique. Because the choke is focused only on one side, we can do this exact same tactic even when his arm is stuck, making it a very efficient arm and guillotine. The main benefit to the arm and guillotine is that he can no longer use this arm to fight. The post is removed and he also lost a hand to try and strip our grip. Now that we understand the grip, let's do it on the ground. I'm sitting in half guard and I'm doing it from my most common position. The first thing is I get my back off the mat. We can't do a guillotine when we're flat on the mat. Then I reach my arm around and I'm scooting my hips out. I use my right hand to post on the mat while I get my left thumb in position to set up the choke. Once it's in position, I can reach my hand through, whether it's through the arm or not through the arm, and then I can grab my grip. From here, I'm bringing my elbow down. Notice how high my back is off the mat. If I have this much space, I still have enough space where I can constantly fall down to adjust the choke. If I immediately fall to my back and I don't get the submission, it's not going to choke him and I won't have any offense left. When you're getting to the end and you're applying the choke, you always want to lean into the choke. Make sure to adjust your back so you can fall onto his neck and you're going to get a much tighter squeeze, forcing them to tap. As mentioned earlier, because this choke is only focused on one side of the neck, it works just the same if we go arm in. By going arm in, we have other attacks available to us and it removes a post from their defense. Now that we understand the choke, let's get into some of my favorite positions with this guillotine. My favorite guillotine is when I have an arm in guillotine and my opponent passes my guard. My opponent thinks they're safe because they're inside control. Because we have the arm controlled, we cannot get Von Flue choked. Now the main goal is I have to capture his leg. I use the near side leg to capture his leg so that he cannot go perpendicular to my chest. Then I'm pulling this leg into me so I can create an instep with the far side leg. Once I have both legs connected, I'm still applying the choke and I'm leaning into the choke to finish the submission. You're going to tap them and it's an extremely tight choke. It's also going to anger so many people because they think they're safe inside control. Another favorite of mine is to use an offensive guillotine when I'm on top. My favorite pass that I use is called the guillotine pass. I'm always attacking their neck and I'm jumping over their guard and I'm leading into my next attack, which goes to, of course, the guillotine. I stand in open guard and I push my opponent down. I expect them to come back up, and as they come up, I wrap up their chin and I hop over their guard, landing in north-south position. Once I'm here, I monitor their arms so they can't turn into me. My next step is I'm going to turn into them. As I turn into them, I'm pulling their chin up and I'm controlling their arms so they can't fight hands, and I get a nice one-handed guillotine tap. In this video against a purple belt, I swept him over and then I led with this same guillotine. He was trying his hardest to fight out this position, but I grabbed an underhook and I kept his chin controlled. Once I had his chin controlled, I just had to push him back down to the mat, extend my chest, and get the one-handed tap. In that video, I hit 3 one-arm guillotines in one roll. It's important that when you do this guillotine and you come on top, you need to have extremely heavy chest pressure. You don't want them to escape this position. They're going to be trying to bridge out, so make sure to puff your chest forward as you pull up on the neck. This will lead to an easy submission. The next great follow-up to this move is to hop from north-south position into mount. From mount, we can easily extend the neck and get another one-arm guillotine. After we land in the north-south position, we're pulling ourselves up. We're doing this by using our opponent's chin and their tricep. We want to bring our legs over their arms so they can't fight. From here, we can easily extend their neck, and we're going to finish with a nice one-arm guillotine. It's always a stylish finish, and you're going to have a lot of control over your opponent. When rolling with a brown belt, I used 2 arms to secure the mount, and then once I had the position, I let go with one hand and I finished it with a nice one-arm finish. A powerful point about the mounted one-arm guillotine is that we still have one arm free to post on the mat. Because of this, if they go to bridge or if they're trying to roll us, we can continuously move this post until we get the most advantageous position and finish the tap. The further that you can walk your post across the mat is going to tighten this choke exponentially. Try and put your arm all the way towards your opponent's other shoulder and they will definitely tap. The last guillotine I'm going to show today is from guard. I use this one all the time when I'm going for my sumi gaeshi or shoulder clamp sweep. Using this shoulder clamp, you can easily leverage your opponent right into the guillotine because you're constantly breaking their pressure. The first step is to dig for an underhook. I pull him by his lapel here, and this allows me to get to the underhook position, then I can lock up my shoulder clamp. This shoulder clamp breaks their posture, putting their head in the perfect position for a guillotine. I start to sit up, and then I reach around for a shallow grip guillotine on the opposite side. From here, I have to bring my legs up. I want to bring my legs up so I can keep the lock tight and compress everything together. I maintain this underhook to control his arm, and then I compress my chest for the tap. The higher we can lift our back when we're going for this guillotine, the more room we have to fall towards the mat. With more space, we're going to get a much tighter choke and we have a lot more compression we can apply to their neck. Because of this shallow grip, this is hard to hand fight. Even if he brings his hand in, it's tough to reach in the amount of time that he has, and my underhook is preventing the other arm from coming in and fighting the grip. Now that we did the moves, let's recap. We first went with a shallow grip. When we were going with the shallow grip, we made sure to place the thumb exactly on the correct spot. We want to place it over the carotid artery, and we're going to keep it in this position. This thumb is going to do most of the choking for us. Because we're using just the thumb, this means we're not exerting too much energy. Our other arm is sweeping through and grabbing the guillotine hand. We don't move the choking hand, we just press it into the neck. We bend our elbows and we bring the elbows over his head down. This helps us with our compression and it means we're not exerting too much energy. We don't have to do too much pulling action. We just need to press it into our opponent to get the tap. Since this choke is only focused on one side of the neck, we can do an arm and guillotine and we're not going to have any change on the choke. It's going to be the same amount of pressure, but we're able to trap our opponent exactly how we want them. This brings us to the end of the video. I hope my guillotine secrets will help all of you guys that attempt to do guillotines in your future roles. If you appreciate the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm thinking about doing mount escapes from my next technique video. Let me know if that's something you want to see. Also, thank you to all my current patrons. If you'd like to become a Patreon member, make sure to check out my link. I have moves of the day and other cool things that you can see on my page. And if any of you hit the guillotine, the choke that I invented from bottom side control, let me know in a future video comment.